Friends, our conversation today is around the simulation theory, the matrix. I just want to play in it, and my hope is that I'm able to provide you with simplistic views of this. And again, you're going to have your own view. You're going to be able to navigate this however you need to. But I feel like it's prudent at this time, as the collective is feeling quite destructive, because this shift of background frequency energy is happening, and humans have recognized that we came to this tipping point around fear, the fear mongering, the fear propaganda. And because we've come to this tipping point of it, this fear of extinction that's been available in the cross of planning for the last 411 years, the last 411 years, the fear of extinction has been there. And of course, what has been happening, the fear mongering is unreal. And really what the fear mongering is trying to get you to recognize is that, oh, there's only just this human experience, which is totally like it's untrue. So that fear of extinction that has been like propagated in the fear of the cross of planning, large business, government, if you don't follow my authority, blah, 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 all this stuff's going to happen, which continue to keep you locked into the matrix. Because let's just say, well, what is the matrix? Okay. You guys have heard me say this before. We're on this earth plane and there's a sky clock and it's going around, right? That is the astrological, the movement. That's the constellations going around. That is the luminaries going around. And we're in this particular matrix with that sky clock. And that sky clock is psychological. It is playing havoc on our psychology constantly because it is a frequency. And that is where it's going to hit us first, is psychologically. And of course, psychology and mind over matter. Then we start to create these narratives in the mind. And through those narratives, I call that, that not self, that conditioning aspect. Through those narratives, we break down the physical body. But what design actually is here to show us is that you actually have a way to be human and navigate in this matrix without the destruction to the body, without the suffering to the physical body, without the suffering mentally, as long as you can represent the activations in your body graph to the best capacity that you know at this moment. And of course, we're going to grow and we're going to mature in this, but it is something to just take a look at. Now, I'm going to play in my chart and the just now chart for today. It's actually the leap year. It's the 29th that I'm looking at this. But I just want to bring this simplicity to you so that you don't get caught up in the this and the that and all the stuff that's going on, right? The collective can get very destructive because the collective and the tribe, they both want to have a control mechanism. They both want to create this control, and individuality says, let's play in the mystery, let's lean into purpose, let's look at spirit, let's look at integration. It has this different energy field to it. Let's mutate, let's get really innovative. That's what the individuality wants, but the tribe is like, no, let's stay the same, let's stay in the fear, let's do all this stuff, right? So, and I'm not saying that there isn't any fear in individuality. There definitely is. It's just a different frequency when you take a look at the circuitry. So I'm just going to share my chart, um, and just kind of walk you through the simplicity of this, because I feel like we've got really, really far off track in design, in our way, in the ability for us to become aware. So I'm just going to play in this. All right. So how do I want to say this? Navigating inside this human matrix that we're in, okay? Human design gives us the manner of how we can do this. How do we do this? Through decision making. When we make a decision every single day, every single moment, as the sky clock goes around, we actually get to make a decision on whether or not we are going to accept or decline the conditioning from the matrix. Now, is the conditioning always there? Yeah, because the sky clock is a psychologically based energy field that is, moving this wheel and it's going around. But human design says, okay, hold on a minute. There's actually a wisdom inside your body. That's why you're having a human experience. That's why your DNA and RNA are in this program. And when you can lean into your decision making, what it does is it helps you as a human, not your soul. It helps you as a human to begin to navigate the human matrix that we're in, this simulated human simulation. And when you lean into the decision making, now you go, oh, that conditioning is there. And it's my decision whether or not I interact with it. Okay, good. Now, your decision making is going to be built into your type, of course, but it's also the other aspect of breaking free from the matrix is how are you representing the 26 activations in your body graph? How do you represent those? Are you allowing that energy field to be something that you represent in the world? So, for example, with myself, let's just play around with the 29th gate. So, the personality sun 29th gate, the draftee. This is the abyss. This 29th gate is the abyss, right? There's this deep within the deep. Like it's such a depth of discovery that can take place here. This is the first line. So the ability to adapt to struggle when necessary, but not as a permanent state. Okay. So in that abyss, in that moment where my commitment is, I don't even want to say tested, but when I'm asked to make a commitment, when I'm drafted into the next discovery the abyss has available for me, sometimes it feels like a struggle. I don't suffer in it. Sometimes it feels like a struggle because it's like, oh, what's this next new discovery? Now, what I get to do is as the matrix is going around and it is pulling, pulling on this and saying, listen, I need you to get a solid foundation in this aspect within the abyss. I now get to go, okay, I'm either going to make that commitment through the sacral center or not. I will commit to that discovery or not. I get it. This is also the gate of saying yes. However, it's also the gate of saying no. And that is the most important aspect, is to recognize that I don't have to discover everything. I just have to discover what this sacral center is saying. What are you going to commit to? I need you to commit to this. Can you commit to this? And the sacral says yes or no, period. Okay? When you lean into your design, look at every single one of these 26 activations, okay? Every single one. Of course, what am I bringing you here? Grounded in composure, okay? So when I get drafted in, now my sacral's going to engage or not. And there's composure that follows it and grounds me through the navigation. Oh, okay, excellent. So I don't have to try to figure anything out because for this particular design, for my design, I will be drafted in. And then the sacral will either engage or not. And through all of that, there will be a grounded composure here. Now, when you look at yours, start to just play with that and go, how do I represent that? How does it show up in my life? It's not about you figuring out how to make it work for you. It's about watching it like come through your DNA and your RNA. So now, once you understand what you're here to represent, and you really truly have this capacity to trust your decision making, right? Here we call it strategy and authority. When you trust your decision making, now you get to navigate with more ease. As Ra would say, it's like, lubing you up and kind of letting you just move, because now all of a sudden the navigation is more simplistic, it's more mundane. Okay. Now, all the openness. Of course, in human design terminology, this is not self. And when Rob began teaching this, he's like, well, there's probably going to be an amplification here. And maybe it's my composure in that 30th gate. But what I recognize here is that this is where you get to decide. All this openness is your capacity to be receptive to all of the wisdom that can come through all of the openness. Okay. And now what's happened is that you're not letting the matrix and the simulation drag you around. Now you are fully centered and held together with your monopole. Your driver's just holding onto the steering wheel, going, okay, body, and personality. Here we are. We're moving along. The soul has no, the higher self, it has no judgment about any of this. None. It has no judgment. Okay. It's not judging your physical body. It is not judging your personality. It's not judging any of it. It's just driving the car. Okay. And now all of this openness, instead of amplification, okay, that can happen when we are conditioned, now all of a sudden you get to pull back and witness, oh, how am I receiving this information? How am I allowing for the wisdom other people have, or maybe lack of wisdom other people have, that they are walking into your life through this openness? And now you get to make the decision. You will interact with that human being or that transiting field. And now what you've done is you've given yourself the ease that is available inside the human matrix or the human simulation. Because you're the higher self, that soul, it's playing multi-dimensionally, right? It's playing multi-dimensionally. It's playing a lot of games, okay? It's playing a lot of games out there. But your personality is connected here in this earth plane matrix. So really what design does is it up levels your capacity to navigate this earth plane matrix with more ease. Now all of a sudden what can happen is you can begin to recognize, right? Like for myself, who actually is certain and conceptualizing in a way that allows me to be engaged in the conversation. What mysteries, what suspicious activity, what confusion like really engages me. I look at that and I watch that because that's intriguing to me. It is It's asking me to learn the wisdom. And there's some wisdom that walks towards me, and I'm like, nope, nope, it's not happening. The sacral's like, I am not engaging with that. Then the next piece of wisdom comes in. It's like, oh yeah, that's the wisdom. That's the piece of wisdom. So that draftee gets pulled into making the commitment to that discovery with composure as my baseline. So you don't have to amplify anything through this open set, all these open centers, open channels, open gates. You don't have to amplify anything. Okay. All you have to do is look at it and go, am I allowing that wisdom to be present? And when that wisdom is present, how am I making the decision to engage with it? Whether that be invitation, information, initiation, response, that is how you navigate this plane without suffering. Now, the receptivity piece of this, some of you might go, but Leann, I'm a quad left. It's okay, because the neutrino ocean is still flowing through you. Whether you're left or right, the neutrinos are still moving through you. People's auras are still moving through you because it's energetic. There's no, big old shield. There's none of that. They're flowing. It's the only decision you have to make is, how am I going to engage with the flow of information? How will I engage with it? Will I engage with it through reaction? Will I engage with it through disdain, shame, hatred, all that lower energy field? Or am I going to engage with it and really tap into the wisdom of my decision making and make a choice? Whether or not I'm going to take what I need to from that conditioning or leave that conditioning out of my experience. Conditioning is always available. Okay. So I'm bringing this to you today because spirituality has got so complicated. So much stuff has got so complicated. I'm like, oh, it feels very simple to me. It feels as though the moment that you allow for those 26 activations to represent themselves through your experience, and then you get to just go, how am I allowing? What am I allowing? How am I engaging? How am I disengaging? How receptive am I to that wisdom? Because the matrix is there, and it will condition you. And it will condition you in ways that you become a victim, or you become empowered to decide what wisdom is correct for you. Right? And again, your driver, that higher aspect of yourself, however you want to call that, I don't like higher, lower, blah blah blah, I don't know about all that. What I do know is that it's not judging you. It has no judgment on whether you navigate this human experience through suffering mentally and physically, or whether you navigate this human matrix with ease, with clarity, with fun, with vitality, with direction. It's not making any kind of judgment at all. The only thing that's judging is the conditioned mind. So once that conditioned mind is not driving your show, that your higher self has the wheel and says, listen, I will hold the wheel, let your body and your personality navigate this human plane and just go have fun. Can you do that? Can you allow yourself to stop trying to figure it out, and just allow for the correct energy field become present in your world. And you make the choice and the decision on how you are going to interact and engage with that energy field. Okay? Because that is how you, quote unquote, bust out of the matrix, is by living with, like all lubed up and ready to just glide through the matrix, glide through the simulation. What do we know for sure is that for 411 years, the fear of extinction, that 30-second gate, fear of extinction, the propaganda around the fear of extinction has been forefront and center in the background. And when the fear of extinction is driving your reality, there's no way to move forward into your talents, into your purpose, into the beauty of what it is just to be very engaged with your decision making. Fear will always, it's always the gateway to awareness. Fear is always the gateway to awareness. So what the fear of extinction actually has provided for me is that, yeah, the human carbon aspect is going to go away. However, there's an energy field that is completely multidimensional that is available to me. So is there actually an extinction? I don't think so. I don't think there is. But you get to figure that out on your own. But how to navigate here? Decision making. Choose who and what you engage with for wisdom and for learning, for having fun, for feeling pain and pleasure. You choose. You make that choice. Okay? And then you look at your activations and go, okay, these are represented through my physicality. Where am I getting in the way? Where is the conditioning getting in the way? Where am I second guessing myself? So play around in the journaling of that. Because once you can recognize the activations flowing through you, okay, once you can recognize the activations flowing through you without interference, now you can witness the wisdom on the other side of all that openness that's coming towards you and saying, hey, I'm here. Do you want to learn? And if you don't, you say no. If you do, you say yes. Okay? All right. I hope that that was simplistic enough. As well, what I'd love is throw your comments down here. And if you want to be in the mentorship, know that it is still available for you to engage in the mentorship, and just really lean into the humbleness and the capacity for you to be the creative being that you were designed for, instead of the reactive being that the conditioning field wants to make you. Okay? All right. Have fun. Talk to you later.